Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest today. We have from Worcester, we have Joanne Roach Evans, and Joanne is the author of Seashells. This is the cutest little book. Now, she says that it was originally, for ages 4 to 8?
Yes.
But tell me what a teacher said.
Well, actually was a librarian who said that a lot of the middle school teachers are saying that the kids like this book too at the library. They're picking it up and they're asking questions, so they want to learn more.
Well, I liked it, and what it does is it takes you through tons of those wonderful shells we see, like at Cape Cod and everything. First of all, how did you, Joanne, get into this? How did you get interested in the seashells?
Well, I decided to paint something I love. I was working on many different projects, and I thought, I just need a break. I'm going to paint something that I really love, and I have a huge collection of seashells. So I just started to paint those, and I said, I want to paint some more, and I enjoyed it, and then I thought, this might make a good children's book.
Definitely.
That was my thought, and I've written many before this.
Yeah.
But this one I just thought had a good chance.
Yeah, and also were these the prequels or the sequels to this?
There's a story to that.
Okay, so we've got marine animals and birds from the northeast coast, and then of course here's the book we're talking about today.
Seaweed. Oh, that's actually seaweed.
Oh, that's
the
seaweed.
second, yeah.
Where are these?
Those are all, I have those made myself, but I haven't published them yet.
Yeah.
And I haven't found a publisher for them yet. I was hoping originally that the publisher of Seashells would pick them up. But
Go for it yourself. You'll get out a lot quicker.
I think I'm going to, I'm at the point where I probably will self-publish those.
Right. You'll get out there quicker, it'll get done, and you get it known.
Yeah, because it's been quite a few years. But so the story behind why I did the series is that I had sent this to a publisher called Commonwealth Publishers, north of Boston. They're no longer. And the editor or the publisher himself, I just forgot his name, but he wrote to me and he said that he loved the book, but he wasn't quite ready to publish it. But the letter was lovely, like it was the best rejection letter ever. And he said if this was a series, I would probably be more interested.
Yeah.
So then what I did was I rewrote the book because it had a lot of different things in it. It had birds in it in the beginning because it was more of a beach experience. Yeah. And it had the birds, it had crabs, seaweed, different things like that. So I said, well, let's focus it on just seashells, which it was mainly anyways. And then what I did was I took parts of stuff that were in there and I wrote the other books. The seaweed was the next one. And actually, while this was being published, I had already done seaweed. I had marine animals almost done and the birds.
This is the most adorable book. You can, first of all, before we go any further, where can they get it?
You can get this book at Islandport Press. You can go directly to the publisher. That's Islandport Press of Maine. You could go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I think most bookstores. It's in most area bookstores.
And downstairs it will be.
Yes, it'll be. It's in a lot of libraries.
These are the most beautiful pictures of the shells, but are these drawings?
Those, yes, I draw them first and then I paint them.
You draw and then you paint. Is it watercolor?
Yes, it's watercolor.
Well, first of all, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Auburn, Mass.
Yeah.
And I grew up going to the beach. My father loved the beach.
Cape Cod or Rhode Island?
All of them, actually, but mainly Rhode Island and Hampton Beach, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I've got pictures of me in diapers and playpens on Hampton Beach.
We won't show them,
No.
I promise.
But yeah, so I've been going to the beach my whole life, and I've just collected shells my whole life, and that's part of, how this all came about. Yeah.
And then you are a teacher at Quinsig.
Yep, I'm a teacher at Quinsigamon Community
Guess
College.
what she teaches?
I teach drawing and I teach digital design.
Yeah. Painting at all? Any painting?
I don't teach paintings unless the students ask me. If I'm in drawing too and they say, "Can you show me watercolor?" then I will.
Yeah.
But mainly it's drawing class.
I know you'll appreciate this. Being a teacher in art, when I got to Plymouth, I was a freshman, and I was majoring in art now. I remember I told you I switched it. So I went to art class, and she had put a big, plant or something up on a pedestal. She says, I want you all to draw it. Well, she didn't say, I want you to get every vein and every leaf, and that's not my style. So I just kind of got the big picture, and And this older lady came over and she said, "Is there something wrong with your eyes?"
Oh my gosh.
I never went back.
Aw.
I knew right then and there was something wrong with her approach.
Yes,
I said, artists see it in different ways.
that's right. And we all have a different style, and that's
Yeah.
the beauty of it.
Had she told us, or had come over and said, "Jan, that is beautiful. Do you think you could get a little more detail?" Then I would have listened to her.
Yeah.
But it was immediate, like, "Is there something wrong with your eyes?" Like, I'm abstract and doodling. That's what I love. So it shot me right down, so I changed to art history. I just said,
Oh, I hate that. I'm so sorry.
I should, if
I would never discourage anyone.
I don't, oh,
I
no.
would never discourage anyone.
I was just telling Joanne that we had the former president of Quincy on the show.
Gail Carberry.
Gail Carver, and she was terrific. What a person who loves young people. They have a great GED program there. I'd like to get some of the little kids I know to go get their GED over there.
It is.
They're very warm. How long have you been at Quincy?
Oh gosh, 18 years I think now.
Really?
Yeah, I came to teaching fairly late.
Wow, yeah. And you went to Worcester, you started at what college?
The Worcester Art Museum.
Yeah.
And then over to Worcester State.
Yeah.
And then after my children were born, I went back to Quinsigamon Community College. While I was there, they said, "Would you please come back and teach for us?
Oh.
But you need to get your master's." So I ran over to Worcester State again, and I got my master's in education.
What do your kids think of your seashell book?
My boys are almost 30 now. I think they're pretty tickled
Well,
with
they're
it.
millennials. They're
Yeah,
cool. I mean, I got a millennial. He's kooky.
We spent a lot of time in the beach with them, so yeah.
Oh, definitely.
They're practice beachcombers.
Did you tell me you started at a very young age writing?
Yes, I wrote my first book when I was about 10 years old. That's as close as I can peg it. I was around 10 years old, and I wrote my first children's book, and I illustrated it, and I put it together, and I said, "Oh, this is what I want to do."
What was the name of it?
It was called Shag.
Shag. Was it
Shag.
about an animal?
It was a little boy who found a little dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you keep it?
Yes, oh, I do. I have the original. Yep.
This is terrific. Now, she surprised me. I thought this was the book, her first book. No. She has written, I think I showed you before, marine animals, birds, and seaweed. But also, here are some very cool pictures of you holding. Now, this one, which shell is this one?
That is actually the 10-ridged whelk, and it is the state seashell of Massachusetts.
Where'd you find this one?
That was on Plymouth Beach.
Plymouth,
Plymouth Long Beach.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, Plymouth, Massachusetts. I was out on a beach walk, and I actually didn't find it. One of the women that I was with,
Yeah.
I met this group, and they help educate people on Plymouth Long Beach about the birds that nest there and the shells. And they asked me to go on a beach walk and talk about the different shells we found, and one of the women found that.
That is fantastic. All right, now.
So you were talking about, early books.
There's a picture, I can't let this go, of your first book. You were
Shag.
10. Shag. She's illustrated the cover. Then there was The Adventure of Richie.
Yes.
Are You Afraid of Thunder?
Yeah. Those are just a few.
The Corn Silk Fairy.
My husband actually wrote that one.
He did?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Lori Jean, the cow incident. And Joe and Laurel and the Runaway Plans. Was that you when you were little?
Yes.
Right
yeah.
beside this. This is you on the
that
left.
was one of my best friends, yeah. Laurel and Laurie Jean, and we grew up in Auburn, and we used to spend all our time in the woods, and there were cows in those days. It wasn't all malls and Burger Kings. There were cows and horses, and we spent a lot of times outdoors.
I know we used to go to the Auburn Mall years ago, and then I know there's a Starbucks up there.
There's a lot of them.
There. Did they take down Toys R Us, or is that still there?
I know it closed. I don't know if they took it down.
All right. Look at this one. Now, this is what I would go in a shell and find something rubbery. What's this guy in here?
Okay, so that's a northern moon snail, and the snail is still in it, and we found those one winter. And I put as many as I could back that seemed like they were still alive. But a lot of times, if you go to the beach in winter and you go after a storm, you're going to find a lot more shells than you will in summer.
And are these little guys hidden up inside?
Yes, so they can get rid of the water in their bodies and pull their body back into the shell.
Well, now, if you take him home, can he survive?
No, I would never take
Don't
anything
ever take him home.
No, they'll not. They have to be in the ocean.
How do they? How to say this delicately? How do they get married?
They actually lay. All I know is they lay their eggs
Yeah.
in like this circular thing. Looks like a tire.
Yeah.
So, honest to God, it's this brown goopy thing,
Yeah.
and I believe it's the female who puts it out around her. So
Yeah.
it's a circular.
And he comes and crawls around. No?
I actually never looked into how they do this, but I know what the egg casings look like.
Yeah.
And so she lays all the little eggs in that.
Oh. How many do you think
It's
she
probably
has?
a slimy experience.
I wonder how many babies she has.
Thousands, probably.
That poor girl.
I know.
I just saw on the news some woman gave birth to a 15-pound baby.
Oh my God.
Oh,
This
we
is
won't go
probably
in-
a little easier
Yeah.
for these mollusks.
Ouch. All right.
So sometimes I see them alive. Like sometimes we'll
Yeah.
find them alive. They go right back in the water, or if they're in the water, we put them right back. But
I
would
remember
never.
as a little girl on the Cape. So we had a family cottage in Dennisport.
Yeah.
And once in a while, you wouldn't just see the empty shell. You would see that little slimy creature. And I always wondered. And then he would kind of go back into the shell.
Oh, yeah.
And I would try and touch him, but nope.
Yeah, no. And they have a little door that they close too. And it's called the perculum. And they will close that little door, and that helps seal them inside.
Is that kind of gooey thing that came?
It's actually hard. It's actually like almost like a little toenail.
in the shell. Now
Yeah,
this
it's
one
on
right
the end
here.
of their foot.
All right. Now would this one of those Craig little guys be in this one?
Yeah. Now this is another snail.
Yeah.
And so I think what we've looked at so far, those are all snails, and they're univalves. So they have one shell. They're also called gastropods,
heard
meaning
that.
stomach foot.
Aha.
That's basically what they look like.
And his little foot comes out so he can move.
Yes. Instead they move around with that foot, yeah. And then they can also pry shells open with it.
Look at the size of this. She just got here, and I went. What is this now?
That is a knobbed whelk.
It's
That's
not a
also
conch. It's a okay.
a whelk. Yeah, the conches are down south, more on the south, and this is a whelk, and it's northern. And so this will eat other clams, and so this is carnivorous. But the conchs, those actually will eat more vegetable matter.
You mean? I thought these were too big for a critter to be in there.
Oh no, there's a huge critter in there. I actually have a picture in my bag too.
There's a bit. Okay, guys, there does something live.
Oh, it's a
size.
huge snail.
Yeah, a big
yeah.
snail.
And these are all over the Cape.
Okay, I could find a shell, but I would never find the critter by the time I got there.
Last time we found a live one, we were out in the water about up to our chests, and we were on Nantucket Sound. So we were down in Menant Beach,
Yeah.
and we found several of them.
Gosh,
I know, all kind of goodies,
Look at
all
this.
kinds of treasures.
What is this one now? Same thing.
That is a channeled whelk,
Okay.
and those I think those are harder to find. I have never found one this big. I found that when I was a kid, and I've only found a couple small ones. And I found a few down in Rhode Island at Watch Hill, gorgeous area, and that's where I found a couple small ones. But they like the warmer water, the knobbed whelk and the channeled whelk.
So actually, a little critter lived in there.
Yeah,
At one time.
Good-sized snail.
Why do they leave?
Well, they probably died.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought.
So they're not going to leave their shell. Their shell is going to grow with them.
So the shell starts off very little when they're babies,
Yes,
and
yeah,
the
they're
shell
little tiny
grows.
ones. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And
Oh.
I actually, in one of my videos on YouTube that I do, I show they have this long egg casing, and I actually broke one open, and you can see, and it's so tiny.
It's
They're
so
so
little.
sweet.
How can people get a hold of your book, Seashells?
Okay, so at Islandport Press,
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and pretty much any bookstore. And if the bookstore doesn't have it, please ask them to get it, because they can.
Now, if somebody wanted you to come and give a presentation and a book signing, how could they reach you?
Okay, you could go through my website, which is jroachevans.com, or jevansdesign@verizon.net. That's my email, one of them. Yeah, but I'd be happy to. I've done a lot of school readings and
You've traveled
library. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun.
Where have you been? You've been up to Maine.
Yeah, from Maine to Connecticut. We were in Mystic. We were in Rhode Island. We were out on the Cape several places and up in Maine. And then also at the Audubon up in Newburyport. And the book launch that I had was at the Audubon in Worcester, Broad Meadowbrook.
Oh.
They were very sweet. They hosted my book launch, and we had a lot of fun.
Oh, they are terrific.
They really are.
We've,
It's a wonderful
we've been on
place.
here, I think, numerous times. Now, these are...
Those are moon snails.
Yeah.
And the one on the right is a northern moon snail, and this one here is called a shark's eye or a lobed moon snail.
And what is that part right there?
That is the lobe, and that one is more southern. So from the Cape and south, you'll find the lobed moon snail or the shark's eye. They look very similar, though.
These shells are very hard.
Yes.
Are they calcium?
Yes, that's exactly what they are, yeah.
So
They start out small, and they exude that calcium and make the shell. As they get bigger, it grows. You know, they just keep making another whorl.
that's what I'm looking. It's almost like you could take these and paint them.
I have.
You have?
Oh, not directly on them, no. Just pictures of them.
No, just on them. Now, in this book, Seashells, Treasures from the Northeast Coast,
Yeah.
she has the most adorable pictures, and you painted them. First you drew them, then you painted them.
Yeah, and I photographed them, or I collected them and drew them from life. Sometimes I draw from my photos. Sometimes the photos are compilation of things.
If you have a little one in your family, or an adult, or whatever, a teenager who loves shells, this is the book. There is a special place where the land meets the sea. This special place is called the beach. And then what she does, she talks about along the sand as you're walking along. And then she describes every single one. Mollusks, that's what, okay.
Yep, they're mollusks, yep.
And then you describe she was telling us about the northern moon snail. What is a tortoiseshell limpet?
That's also a snail. Have you ever found them? They look like a little hat. We used to call them some type of hat. And they're really beautiful. I don't know if you can show them. It's that one right there.
It's kind of tiny.
Yeah, it is pretty tiny. They're very tiny. And you'll find those more north. Like I find more of them up in Maine.
Yeah.
And of course, they need to be around rocks. So if you got a beach with some rocks or a jetty, that's where you're more apt to find them. Because they adhere to the rock. And do you know they come back to the same spot? Like after they go out and feed, they come back and they want to stay in
And
the
they
same
travel
little
back?
spot.
Wow.
They're very interesting.
Once the shell lady distributes all of her eggs, does she stay with them or she just walk away?
Oh, she's gone. You mean the moon snail? Yeah,
Yeah.
she's gone. That's rolling in the surf.
Okay.
They're on their
I'll have to
own.
get family services in on there. Can you find, now you go, can you find the slipper snail shell? And it's sort of like, can you find the tortoiseshell limpet? So it's sort of like a wonderful version of Where's Waldo in a way.
Yeah,
Can you
there's a
find
little
this
bit.
shell? Did it take you a while to think this up, or it just came naturally?
Yeah, I started by painting the shells, and then I needed to do research. And I thought I knew a lot about them.
Yeah.
I learned so much. And actually, even since the book was published, I've learned quite a bit more about them. So I did my research, and, I basically just ordered it by going with you know what I mean? I did the univalves and I did the bivalves, so I sectioned it into the two groups. Sometimes if I had a photo, it would help sort of inform the text, where I found it. But I wrote back and forth. Like I would draw and paint, and then I would write. But I did a rough draft first.
Sure.
But I edited it quite a bit. Like I was just looking at it before I came in, and it went through a lot of
This was the last
versions.
This was the latest one.
Yes.
Is there one coming? Another one?
Other than seashells?
Yeah.
No, just this one for seashells.
What's coming next, though?
Like I said, I'm at the point where I think I am going to self-publish the rest of the series. But actually, I'm working on a book right now about a piping plover.
A what?
A piping plover.
What's that?
They're endangered. It's a little shorebird, and it nests here on the coast and up in the Great Lakes, and I think actually in the middle of the country. There's a few places, but it needs to be near water. But it's quite endangered. And so when I was up at Hampton Beach a couple of years ago, there was one little plover on the beach, and I was intrigued. How did this little thing survive? Because it wasn't even flying yet. Kids were chasing it.
Yeah.
And it's protected. Like there's like a $10,000 fine just if you harass it. And if you know Hampton Beach, that is so busy. There's like millions of visitors. And this little guy survives and with the help of people too, because they will come and put like a cage over the nest when they find it.
Yeah.
And that helps protect it from raccoons, seagulls, dogs, rats,
Why
cats.
are they so endangered? Because they're so small?
Yeah, they're so small that people can step on them and not even know it.
Yeah.
They can step on their eggs, not even
How
see
big
them.
are they?
They're only about this big.
Do they look like mini seagulls?
No, they're just they're little fluffy things, and they're very pale. Like they have just like a little off-white and a dusty brown. They're the sweetest things. They're very tiny. And so now I'm very intrigued in, I wrote the book about that, and I'm still working on it. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. With the rest of the series, I think I'll try to self-publish the rest of it.
Oh, yeah.
But with I called it Little Pippa, Little Survivor, the story of the piping plover. That one I still want to try to find a publisher if I can.
Okay.
We'll see.
Now, what's the periwinkle? Is that the black one I see on the jetties?
Yeah, that's the real common snail. Yeah.
Okay. I've seen tons of those little periwinkle, and they hang onto the rocks. They're about an inch long, and they're smaller than the northern moon shell. We show you that little moon shell.
Yeah, much
they're
smaller.
Oh, yeah. They're like this little,
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
They're actually even like more of a 3/4, half-inch a lot.
What's that black one that's so common? I see you on the beach. It's like black, and it's like a, not an oval, but kind of a, it's so...
You're talking about the periwinkle or
No.
one like it?
You're
talking about the dogwinkle maybe, but they're often just white.
No, this is black, and it's all over the lot. It's shaped like that, kind of like a...
You're not talking about the slipper snail? And
It could be.
Oh, mussels, blue mussels maybe?
And mussels, there's
Okay.
usually two of... Okay.
Yes,
all right,
and that's a bivalve.
Okay.
Two
And
halves.
there's somebody who lives in there, right?
Oh, yes.
But by the time when I was a little kid and I got to it on our beach, no one was home.
A lot of people eat mussels, of course, so
Well, they might have taken them out.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone's like harvesting them, around here, but yeah, definitely. I know up in Maine they're growing them. They're actually doing aquaculture, right, where they're growing seaweed and mussels.
Yeah. A surf clam.
Yes, that's common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that is obviously no one's home and they left their house or
Yes.
they died, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They don't leave without their shell, right? That means he died in his shell.
Yeah, he had died in his shell, or a lot of times seagulls. You'll see seagulls pick these up and drop them so that they'll smash on the beach.
And so they can eat these.
So they can eat them, yeah. And these surf clams aren't that deep in the sand, so they're easier to get at by
Okay.
people or other, birds and creatures. Very common. as a
Look
surf
at the
clam.
large shells of the surf clam. See the lines on the shell. They are called growth lines. They tell the age of the clam. Each line represents 1 year. Holy moly, this is an old
Yeah,
one.
isn't that cool though? Just
Oh,
like
I
a
mean-
tree.
Oh my God, I didn't think they'd live that long.
Yeah, they do.
That's why those lines are on the shell, like the clam shell. It's like, that's how old the little guy was.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I like these. The quahog one,
Yeah, those are beautiful.
why are they so beautifully colored with the purples inside and all?
I'm not sure why that purple is there. I guess I should know that. But yeah, I mean, the Native Americans used to use that as wampum, right? That
Yeah.
was their currency. And those you find a lot more to the south in Rhode Island, a lot of quahogs.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. But
This is the one I think I've seen, but it's black. The ribbed pod, Atlantic razor clam.
yes.
I saw a lot of those growing up. The black, the shells. Yeah,
They sometimes would have a dark, what is called as a periostracum, which is the covering on the shell.
Yeah.
But that usually wears off, and it has those beautiful purple lines on it.
Yeah. Soft shell. What's a soft shell clam?
That's the one a lot of people eat. So the shell itself is just a little bit thinner. It's not as heavy as the surf
But they don't
clam.
eat the shell.
No.
You don't want to eat the shell.
You know what eats the shells is eiders. They will actually swallow mussels whole.
Some people.
Eiders are the seabirds. They're the largest sea duck on the coast,
Yeah.
and they'll eat mussels whole like that and digest it.
We're talking with Joanne Roach Evans, and she is the author of Seashells, Treasures from the Northeast Coast. And when I got it in the mail, I said, I expected, one of these. Isn't that cute?
It is cute.
I'm trying to think where I heard about it. Did you speak somewhere locally recently?
Not in the last few months.
Okay.
About the size, that was a little different for my publisher.
Yeah.
And what happened is when I printed the book to send them the dummy,
Yeah.
I printed it half size because I was trying to save paper,
And
right?
you took it literally.
And I think they liked the small
Yeah,
size,
yeah.
and I think that's why they chose it. But I have so many people tell me that it's just right for little hands.
It is. It very is. What's a jingle shell? This looks like a hole in it, like it broke. It says They are also called toenails. I think you can see why. It's the shell, but like opening.
Yes. So there's two halves. They're bivalves. So the jingle shell comes in two halves. One is complete, and the other one has a little hole in it, and it puts like little threads through that hole, and it'll attach to other shells or rocks.
Aha. And a scallop. We know what those are.
Scallops are so beautiful.
Oh, yeah, on Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep. Calamus Beach is one of the best places in Hyannis to find those.
Calamus Beach?
Calamus, Kalmus.
Is that off of Route 28 area or further?
It's like right past Hyannis Center
Yeah.
at JFK Memorial Park, and you just go right around the corner from JFK. Or if you went to the Memorial Park Beach there,
It would be
it's
there.
right in Hyannis Harbor.
I see, well, growing up, I've seen tons of those.
Yeah, they're
Kind
so
of a white
gorgeous.
color, right?
Yeah, white, pink, black.
Even some people put them on their walls or they decorate them, for
Oh,
little
sure.
things. What's the jingle shell?
The jingle shell is the one that I always grew up calling a toenail.
Oh, okay.
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 I actually think I have some in my
A
bag.
toenail shell. And scallops come in all colors. Oh,
Yeah, I have
a
some
jingle
there.
shell.
So you can see why they call
Oh.
them that.
They're very light. They almost look like, what's that?
Oh, cappies or something?
What is it we eat? What is it we eat?
Chips.
Chips. They look like potato
They
chips.
do.
They do, and those are shells. And you can find them around here, Northeast Coast, right?
Yes, definitely. There's a ton in Rhode Island. A friend of mine was just down in Rhode Island near Newport, and she said there were piles of them on the beach. And they're so pretty, orange and yellow. Yeah, they're really pretty.
All right, now we have, and scallops. Of course, people eat those scallops.
Yes.
I love those.
And it's gorgeous shell.
What I don't get is the scallop shell is like that, but when you go to the restaurant and you order scallops, it's round.
I think you're just eating the little muscle.
Inside the shell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're eating like their muscle. I actually don't eat shellfish, so
You don't.
no.
Okay. Now this looks like common blue mussels. This is the one with the dark blue that I've
Yes.
seen when I was growing up, all on the Cape.
Yes, yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. We got a couple of minutes left.
Okay.
Joanne, again, how can people go ahead and get your book?
Okay. Any bookstore. They're around at all local bookstores that I know of. I've had book signings a lot locally too.
Yeah.
And I actually sell it on my Etsy site too. I will sign it and sell it at my Etsy site, which is jroachevans at etsy.com.
Can you spell your name for them?
Roach, R-O-A-C-H, and Evans, E-V-A-N-S.
And so they can buy it on there. Of course, it'll be downstairs, a copy, down in the Upton Library.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait for this next one. It's going to be about the little bird. What was it called again?
It's a piping plover. We'll see. I still got a lot of work to do on it.
When might that be coming out?
I don't know. These things take time, and I'm still really trying to perfect it before I send it out again.
Yeah, I can see where this is going to make a big hit.
Thank
the closer
you.
we get to summer,
Yes, that's when I
closer
have
you hit the beach area, the kids in the libraries. Have you been to Hyannis Library at all? Boy,
At the library, no. I was at the Barnes and Noble there.
I would think the children's department, all like the library.
We actually did drop one off at like the town hall to
Yes.
go to the library, and I think
No,
it
you
was
gotta-
during the winter.
You need to connect. What I do with my office, you connect with the contact person, be it the librarian, whoever. You have
Okay.
their email, phone number, address. Send them the email, you introduce yourself. If you don't hear within 4 or 5 days, you pick up the phone, you say, "Hi, I'm the author that sent you that book. Can we get something scheduled?" But the children's departments up here in this area, we have like Westboro and Northboro. Here in Upton, Grafton, they have wonderful children's sections.
Yeah.
And this is terrific.
I'd love to come out. I'd love to see kids. I'd love to share the book with them.
Yeah.
We were at Books by the Sea for a book signing. We were at the Cape Cod Natural History Museum. I'm trying to think where else on the Cape. We had several events.
You might enjoy going up to the Ecotarium in Worcester.
You know, they do have my book, and my editor had talked to them personally about having a reading, and we just
Yeah.
never worked anything out. I'm not sure why, but it just never worked out. So maybe in the future.
You got to be a squeaky wheel.
I know.
You got, because there's so many authors out there, but you got to stand out and say, "Did you receive it? Oh, great. Can we talk? Is this a good time to talk about scheduling me?" Thank you, Joanne.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time and be my guest.